Event freelancers, welcome to your new community, connecting you to your next project. Get connected. Sign up now. It's free.
So now we've heard from a good pitch from the UK. We're about to be joined by representatives from the International Live Events Association from around the world to hear about how challenging 2020 has been in various countries and local markets. I would like to welcome Cecilia Lavin, President of ILEA UK, Paul Berger, President of ILEA Middle East, and Christian Seidenstrup, President of ILEA Europe, and Hampton Lloyd, Past President of ILEA Asia. Over to you. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I've seen, obviously, in the chat that we've got people from all over the world present today. So before, obviously, I get the panel to introduce themselves, I just wanted to tell you quickly what ILEA is. As AJ said, we are the International Live Events Association, and we are basically the principal global association representing creative event professionals. We provide educational, collaborative, networking opportunities that provides professional and personal development. We are a non-for-profit association and we're completely run by volunteers. So we all have a different day job and we give back via our positions in ILEA. We currently have about 3,000 members worldwide. But obviously, before we go into chat about the current international events environment, I would just like to obviously introduce the panel. Hamson, how about yourself?
Hi, I'm Hamson. I'm from the Hong Kong chapters, but now I'm in China. I'm in Chengdu, okay, in the middle of China, okay.
Great. Paul.
Hi, everybody. I'm the president of the ILEA Middle East chapter based in Dubai.
Great. Well, obviously, as AJ introduced myself, I am the current president of the ILEA UK chapter. So obviously, we've had a great introduction in regards to the current events environment in the UK. But obviously, we want to take a focus on the international perspective because we obviously want to return to international events as quickly as we can. So I'm hoping Christian can join us in a minute because I think in Germany, there's been a clear distinction between mass gatherings and obviously business events very early on, which I think has seen a very early return of events in Germany because currently they can host events. But Paul, there was an event actually that happened in Dubai last week, I believe, that hosted up to about 2,000 people. Can you tell us about that? I believe you attended that event.
Yes, I did indeed. Yeah, so that was the first event that we had last Thursday in Dubai at the Dubai World Trade Center, hosted by the Dubai World Trade Center. It focused on, it was meant to be on artificial intelligence, but actually really the focus was about bringing visitors back to Dubai, businesses back to Dubai, conferences, meetings, etc. There were 2,000 people. It was I think quite emotional for a lot of people because rather than seeing people through a forum like this, you were able to see people in a 3D version. Yeah. So I know for a lot of the speakers it was emotional to be able to talk in front of 2,000 people, socially distanced. They did a very, very good job, and I can say as a visitor attending this, I felt extremely comfortable and safe in that environment. I was not alarmed. I wasn't worried. It was very well organized. It worked. It was a very, very good event to kick off. And I think we're talking about the Middle East in general. We are the Middle East chapter. Obviously, other countries in the Middle East are a little bit more cautious, but Dubai certainly is now very aggressive. Have opened up the airport. They are encouraging visitors and tourism. They've got very, very strict safety measures in place to welcome people, to make sure again that you feel safe. But there is a distinct message to the world that Dubai is open for business, but in a responsible way. I think let's be very clear. This is not just coming back and being like we were before. They're doing it in a very responsible way.
So, Paul, what sort of restrictions, you were talking about this event last week, you felt very safe, which is obviously great to hear, because I think in the UK, we're doing a lot of work at the moment about rebuilding confidence of the consumers as well to return to events. What other restrictions did they do apart from social distancing? Was there any other sort of major restrictions that, they adhered to?
Yeah, so when you first of all, you had to register. When you come in, it wasn't just a temperature check. There were multiple temperature areas that you had to walk through, so you were constantly being monitored it discreetly. I mean, you didn't feel, it wasn't like somebody coming up and shoving a thermometer in your face. It was done very, very discreetly so that you felt comfortable, but you just felt that everybody was aware. People were wearing masks inside the venue. The speakers obviously didn't, but masks were compulsory for all delegates, and most people, because here you have to wear masks, otherwise you get fined. So most people obviously wore masks unless you were on the stage, and just the way the whole conference and exhibition was laid out, you just felt there was a lot more space. It wasn't overcrowded. I mean, they could have probably had twice as many people in there, but they were very strict about numbers at all times.
Great, thank you so much for that, Paul, and welcome, Christian. I hope you can hear us now. And Christian, just going back to you before we come to Hamsun. So I was introducing the session saying, obviously Germany very early on introduced the the difference from a government perspective around mass gatherings and business events. And I think that's seen the return of events earlier in Germany. Would you agree with that? How does it look currently in Germany?
Yeah, in the beginning, there was a distinction between mass gatherings and business events. The end of February, we had the first recommendation. It was really called recommendation. Events over 1,000 people. And then it changed within 1 week saying, no, it's not allowed anymore to host mass gatherings over 1,000, and ended up mid of March with a complete lockdown. So that was really the situation. It changed from day to day, and especially our clients were feeling unsafe what to do now with this kind of situation, because in the first beginning they thought it will be only, let's say, we have to divert it for 2 or 3 months event, and since mid of May now the situation is getting better from day to day. So that means so restaurants were allowed to open, and in Germany we started with really, really small numbers. So it was allowed beginning from 20 up to 50 persons indoor and up to 100 persons outdoor. And now it's changing really also from week to week, the figures getting up. But still, what is really necessary is also what Paul said, we need space. You need a hygiene concept, which you have to hand in, and you have to ensure the distance of minimum 1.5 meters distance between the participants. The challenge what we now have, let's say, is more or less the party crowd, so to say, because now we get mixed up. Because due to the fact that you are not allowed to have to go in a club or whatever, people meet more, let's say, in the city centers and make their own parties without hygiene concept and without 1.5 meter distance. And this is current discussion now, how to to get again this distinction from the very beginning that we are not mixed up with the party people. So let's say that what we are doing is a business event. So this is what we are fighting at the moment right now, and use the press, to show the difference.
And I think that's absolutely correct. It's the same that we've been doing in the UK. It's making that distinction to make sure that us as an industry to come back as quickly as possible. So Hamsun, to you, obviously you're based in China, so thank you very much for joining us. How does the environment look in China right now? I think events have taken place for a little while, right?
Yes, okay. I think I have participated in several events, okay, and some exhibition, okay. And in China, for everyone, if you want to go to this kind of event or exhibitions, then you have to carry a health code, okay. So for me, the code is valid for 7 days. Okay, if you need to renew the code, then you have to go to check, go to the hospital to check it again, okay. And then if you go to these events like exhibition or large scale event, then you have to show your code, and you have it will be green color, okay, if it is okay. So when you enter the gates, then you have to show your mobile and with the green code, okay, then you can enter the place. Of course, then we need to wear masks, okay, and we need to have some counters, okay, for the cans of sanitizer or whatsoever, okay. So we have all these kind of thing, okay. But other than that, then we have the green code, okay. So now in China, then you have to go to the hospital to check for yourself, okay, for every week, okay, to make sure that your code is kept green. If you want to go to events, okay, if you want to go to some of the restaurant, if you want to go to the bar, if you want to go to the airport, okay, everywhere, then you need to have the green code, okay. So make sure that you have the green code, then you can go anywhere and to participate in any events or exhibitions.
It's obviously clear thank you, Hamsun. I think it's really interesting because it's clear to see that domestic events internally in each our individual countries are happening and can start moving forward, but it's the focus on international events as well that I think is going to take a while longer. I've obviously spoken to my representatives in the States and Canada, and they are in very similar situations. In Canada, Toronto is not hosting events at the moment, whilst in BC and Alberta, they are allowing for smaller events. And in the States, it's pretty much on a lockdown level, both on inbound and outbound, travel. And some states are fine in terms of delivering events at the moment, but it's quickly changing. So in Florida at the moment, you can hold events, but in Miami, you can't. So it's changing on a day-to-day level. So going back to obviously the events environment, I see questions and I will ask them to you in a second. But in terms of how the environment has changed since the start of obviously COVID-19, obviously there's been a change to virtual, potentially hybrid events, and then going into live experiences moving forward. Hamsun, I know virtual events is very big in China currently. Can you tell us a little bit about how that environment is working right now?
Yes, now I think most of the events in China, they have the online and offline partners together, okay. So for some of the exhibitions, then they, even though they can have some visitor, okay, but they still have the online part, okay, to go with the offline part, okay. So I think it will be the trend in China in the future, okay, then virtual events and real events will go together, okay. So we, for most of the people in China, then we are now getting used to this kind of virtual events like this, okay. So even if they go to the venue, okay, then they may have some virtual part, okay, on site, okay. So because now for most of the events, all foreign speakers, then they cannot go to China, okay. So for the part of the foreign speakers, okay, so they must participate in the event through some virtual ways, okay. So this is how the online event and the offline event then join together then in the future. And I think it will be a trend. Yeah, it will be a trend.
It's a hybrid solution. So Paul, coming to you, I saw that the Middle East Event Show, which is due to take place in October in Dubai, has actually now announced that they're doing a hybrid solution as well. So you're both doing. Have you seen that changing a lot in terms of the events environment in UAE, basically?
Yeah, yes, for sure. There is definitely a push to have a hybrid version of events, conferences where, I mean, last week, for example, is a good example. Even though there were 2,000 people there, the speakers were offered the choice whether to physically come there to speak or to speak, you know, via webinar. It was all online. They chose to come and speak because I think, you know, they were high-profile Emirati people who wanted to demonstrate that Dubai was open again, so they physically came. But still, that conference was very much a hybrid. So if we had 2,000 people in the auditorium, there was, I don't know how many were watching online, but I suspect the majority were probably watching like we are discussing today. So I think, you know, I think certainly for the foreseeable future, and I think it's probably the responsible thing to be doing, is to have this hybrid mix. And you know, it was made very clear, a question was asked to the Minister of Tourism, you know, are we going to see, you know, stadium concerts in the near future? And he said, absolutely not. We wouldn't be going back into, you know, live stadium concerts, certainly for the foreseeable future. So I think it's very much a slow step back into organizing events like this.
Yeah, no, completely. And Christian, obviously you run one of Germany's biggest events agencies, and obviously a big part of what you do is live events experiences. You know, that's sort of the focus there. How have you seen that the demand from your clients has changed in terms of the events environment?
Yeah, they have still some big question marks, you know, because they're also looking for solutions, and we should be the provider of solutions. And, you know, we are now really in the middle of a transition to a new normality in live communication. You know, that's in normal, let's say. That's what they say in Germany. And so now we have to mix familiar formats with some new formats, you know, and we have to first experiences, you know, what we did, for example, the first things, it was very common in the beginning, have this kind of drive-in cinemas, you know, where you drive in with a car, and then stage the first, let's say, promotion events. And also we had with 2 car manufacturers the first real test drive events, because to experience a car only virtually is only a part of the business, you know, because you still have to how to get in contact with your target groups. And you know, at the moment, it's more or less, let's say, content-driven formats. So what we are doing right now. And another test balloon, what we are doing is now we have a pilot project. It's called Back to Life. And with Back to Life, we offer some quick tests at the events. In the morning, you will be tested. And after 4 hours, you will, it's a little bit similar, like Hansen said in China. So you get also green code, let's say, and this allows you to join the event. And I think it's an experimental phase. And as always, you know, there are a lot of, if you have bad things on the one hand, the other thing is always the good thing is open up new possibilities, new business models. And so in Germany, it's really the experimental phase at the moment to see trial and error, so a little bit, you know. So this is, with this experience, you know, we try to convince our clients for autumn and winter time and latest in 2021 to start again with smaller formats, mixed formats, let's say hybrid and live. And we will see how
we're going to come to some questions soon. So I think there was a burning question previously in the previous session as well about how do you think your business has changed in terms of using freelancers? You know, do you see that there's going to be an increased demand of hiring freelancers versus permanent staff, Christian? How do you see that changing?
No, I can answer if you want to. I think the demand will gets higher because at the moment the problem is, you know, especially big agencies, also like ours, you know, we have the problem that our fixed cost is still so high. This is also the thing how we try to transform now in, let's say, more agile, smaller units, but you know. Even before the crisis, we worked with over 400 freelancers within a month. And now we try also to find the best solutions because we have a financial support program, especially for employed people, that you get paid up to 100% of the salaries are covered by the state. And so what we try to do, keep our people, let's say, safe in the money side, let's say, and work more or less with the freelancers, and it will be interesting to see how we will the developments. But I would generally say the demand for freelancers will be increasing.
And Paul, when we spoke last week, I think actually, oh sorry, there's a big background noise. Paul, when we spoke last week, you also mentioned that you believe that the demand for freelancers is going to increase. What do you think the change in skill set is going to be when you're looking to hire freelancers? Do you think it's going to change if you compare to pre-COVID?
Yes, so to back up what Christian said, and I think also on the previous panel, I have no doubt as a company, I'm the CEO of the ILEA group in EMEA, so that's Europe, Middle East, and Asia, and there's no doubt that obviously under these circumstances we need to be reducing fixed costs. It's a natural thing, and so we will be very, very reliant on a pool of freelancers across EMEA. So not just in the UK, but the Middle East is very important for us, and so is Asia, and to be able to have access. And so I think the demand for freelancers is going to go up substantially. I think the levels of skill set will probably is the same. That's not necessarily going to change, but we're certainly going to, as the ILEA group, be very much more reliant on having access to that pool of talent. I think it gives you that opportunity to react a lot quicker. It gives you the access to perhaps a skill set that you don't have internally. You know, that you can bring in, because I think once, you know, when you're working full time, you get bogged down in various situations and projects, whereas you're able to bring in a different view, a different outlook, and more importantly, a different skill that we wouldn't normally have on board.
Yeah, and actually, I'll move on to questions. We've got 5 minutes left, and I thought it's good to answer some of these questions because they're very good questions. So, Paul, this is for you. Obviously, Expo 2020 was a huge deal for Dubai, and obviously you spent a lot of time to win it. What impact has COVID had on those plans?
For Expo itself, well, yes. Expo, like every other major event like the Olympic Games, they have postponed exactly 12 months, but for them it's very much business as normal. They want to get it built and complete by the end of this year, certainly up and running for test events during Q1 of 2021. So you will see no change on the Expo site. It is very much business as normal. They've obviously cut back on certain overheads in terms of, obviously, they don't need you know, the event side, the organizers, the operational side, so much now. It'll be obviously next year, but in terms of delivery of the pavilions, of the temporary infrastructure, of the legacy infrastructure, it is full steam ahead.
Great. That's obviously great to hear. It's almost a pause button for 12 months, right? But it's great to see that still taking place.
Pause button, but you know, try and minimize the cost impact wherever possible. Minimize that cost impact, and let's get it done. And then I'm sure in the background they are preparing, you know, Plan B and Plan C. You know, like Tokyo is on the Olympics, I'm sure. But it's very much business as normal.
Great. Well, hopefully we can all meet in person there in 12 months' time then. So that's great. So Hamson, I'll come to you for this question. And so basically, obviously, big corporates has also been affected by COVID, not only obviously the events industry, agencies, etc. Do you think that the events budget moving forward is going to change? Have you seen a change in your clients basically having less money for events?
Not exactly. I think up to now I can't have any real picture about this. Okay, but I think one point I want to mention is that so for all the foreign agents or company, then I think you should keep an eye on the development of Hainan in China. Okay, because the government is going to change some policy, and I think it will be have more favorable terms for those foreign organizers. Okay, if they want to organize some sport events or other events in Hainan. Okay, so I think it is one of the very important new things. Okay, in the coming 2021. Okay, but in terms of the budget, I don't have any fair at this moment, because even in China, okay, we are still not in full swing. Okay, so we just finished some of the old projects and some of the old contracts. Okay, up to now, but we don't have a lot of new projects coming. Okay, so we have to wait until we can have more information. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I think there's obviously I think there's always the consciousness of a second spike as well in individual countries, which obviously people are being cautious of at the moment. But Christian, have you seen any impact so far from your clients at all, or?
Yeah, it's the same situation, that the people at the moment do not know what to do. And I think what we offer is the maximum of flexibility to our partners. That means with locations, with caterers, even though with our freelancers, to say, okay, to try to hold the event date as long as possible, and to make it as easy for the client postpone the event again, because otherwise if we don't offer this, then I would say, okay, what shall I do? Then they will cancel from the very beginning. And I think this is the only way how to also gain business or secure business, let's say, because all 2020 were full, and now most of the events moved to 21, and we all can only keep our fingers crossed that next year will be better, let's say. And even though the point of the restart, even though at what time shall I bring in my people again into my company? This is also the big question at the moment.
No, thank you so much. I just wanted, obviously, apologies that we haven't responded to all the questions. Feel free to obviously connect with us individually on LinkedIn. We're happy to continue conversations. And my heartfelt thank you to Christian, Paul and Hamson for your time today. I know you're very busy, and I hope you've all enjoyed what we had to say. So thank you, everyone, and have a lovely day of Event Freelancer Summit.
Event freelancers, welcome to your new community, connecting you to your next project. Get connected. Sign up now. It's free.